Hi, my name's Stuart and Jane's the cameraman today, and we're Getaway Geese. We thought today we'd actually give you a review of Harry the campervan, which we bought last year. We've been trying to do that for some time, and we finally got around to it. We've come up into the Shropshire Hills, just at the back of Church Stretton, and we're going to go through the features of the van and also give you an insight into perhaps some of our decision making and why we bought it.
Underneath the rows of trees, I will see you where the ocean meets the sky. Under your toes, the fire grows. You are ready for a different kind of life. You're silent, bold, the wind is cold. You must return to the wild. You're silent, bold, the wind is cold. You must return to the wild.
Okay, so in this video, I thought what I'd do is I'll just go through in various elements of the van, the base vehicle, go through the various features of the fit out by Autocampers. So the van we went for in the end was it's an Autocampers van on a Ford chassis. Now they also do it on a VW chassis as well if you want it. We went for the Ford, and we'll explain that as we go through. It is a Ford L1 H2 Transit. It's a short wheelbase. That was something we decided that we wanted to do, and that was a decision we made. Again, anything that I say in this video, it's got to be around personal choice. You have to go and decide what it is that you want. We wanted to be able to go and park it at ease, not necessarily being confident with parking big vehicles in supermarkets, etc. So that was one of the decisions we had. It needed to be a short wheelbase. This is, as I said, it's a L1 short wheelbase and a H2, which is slightly higher. We weren't going for this. We were actually going to go for a pop top, the more traditional pop top in the camper vans, and we'll explain why we changed our mind on that. I say there's only the two of us. I say if you've got 4 people, then obviously the pop top is probably more right for you. The vehicle itself is a 2-litre diesel. Again, we took time about making a decision because of the fuel situation. We weren't sure what was happening in the market with the diesel. In the end, we just decided life's too short and just decided to go for it in the end. So it's a 2-litre diesel. It's got plenty of power. It's the 170 PS version, and so I'll go through the various base features with you next. So I'm just going to refer to my notes while I just do this because my memory's pretty bad and that. So with respect to the specification, things like it's the trend version. So again, I'll put the link onto the Ford website where you can get into the real details, but it's the trend version. It's a magnetic grey. We seem to be attracted to grey. Nearly every car we seem to have had in the past has been grey, but maybe we're grey people, I don't know. We've got the body bumper colours down here. They're matching. You get it with the trend specification. Front fog lights, power wing mirrors, they're heated as well. There's privacy glass obviously. Heated seats, so that's really nice to get up in the morning. We've already used those through the winter and that. Jump into the driver's seat and nice to have a warm arse in the morning. Auto sensing wipers, so that's great, so you don't have to think about when it's raining, they come on automatically. We've got front and rear parking sensors, which is nice because that means we can we don't hit anything when we're parking. Okay, so when we decided on to buy the van, I said initially we were going to go with a pop top, the more traditional, because we thought you know, the high top was perhaps a bit ugly, but actually we've got used to it, and I think it's quite a good looking vehicle. If you look from the front here, you know, it's got a nice sweeping look to it. I think it's quite a nice modern fresh look. It's actually you know, we were absolutely going to go for a VW van, but we decided when we saw the Ford that actually it was a bigger van. It's a bigger van inside for us. Now that might not suit all, because I know there's a lot of people who are very pure about having a VW van, and you know, and this is down to personal choice at the end of the day. This van though was probably £6,000 to £8,000 cheaper than an equivalent VW. So if you like your VWs, great, and I say Autocampers also do it in a VW, but there was a cost implication as well for it. But we liked it because it was actually just that bit bigger, bit wider, and it just seemed to give us that bit of extra space. Autocampers do 4 specifications of the van, of the fit out. and I'll put a link to Autocampers below. This one's the leisure van. This has got 2 sliding doors, which is something we really liked, and we'll show you why that we went for that. They do a classic version, which is a single sliding door, but it's got a more traditional layout inside with a slightly longer kitchen and flush units. They do what they call an MRV, which is a multi-recreational vehicle, which allows you to, especially if you're going into outdoor adventures and that type of thing, with cycling or whatever it is you're into, climbing, so that allows you to be a bit more flexible with moving the seats around. And they also do a day van, so I won't do it justice. Best if you just go onto their website and have a look. So this one's the leisure van that we've gone for. With respect to fuel filler, you have to open the passenger door so you can have a nice conversation when you're actually filling up. So the fuel filler's here, and got AdBlue. Okay, so as I said, it's got the second sliding door, which we'll go through in a bit. We've got the awning that will open up shortly. This is the standard electrical hookup point there. Okay, so at the back here, obviously we've got the 2 doors. Obviously it's a higher van, as we know, so the doors open up, and they've got these safety catches here to lock in. You can actually override those and obviously take the door wide open if that's what you need to do. So they're quite useful. And so we've got this back bench seat, and it is a big back bench seat, and it's really great. In fact, we've got some shots where the car parking space pulled up, we opened the doors and we sat, you know, you can sit on here and you can look out, so it's really nice, but it's really deep in that, so you know they go back some way, so it just gives you another aspect of how to use the van. Quite a bit of storage space. This is obviously part of the bed that we'll show you. You can have this, you know, when you're trying to get at stuff, you can see we've got quite a bit of stuff here already, but if you're transporting, you've got more stuff that's higher than that, maybe you've got an awning or something like that, you can actually have it high up, and obviously you've got loads of storage space should you want to. And you know, there's just a catch that just allows you to bring that down. Okay, at the side of the back here, we've got quite a tall space. Tend to put a lot of the awning grips. We've got the ramps that we put in there, etc. I'll put some tools up that way. Below here, there's a sealed gas unit area. So that's the camping gas we got in there, which is the 907 unit. I think it's 2.5 kilograms. So that's all stored safely in there. Obviously it's all secure and vented away. So there's a huge amount of space under there. Okay, so we also went for a rail here. It's a standard, there's a figure 8 rail, I'm not quite sure the exact term of it, but you can obviously maybe get a driveway awning, etc. We've actually got a I think it's a Campervan, I think it is, a wing sheet that comes out, and we bought poles for it, etc. So effectively we've got both sides of the van where we can have shelter and cover. So I mean, you could obviously have 2 awnings if you wanted to, and that so just gives us a bit of a flexibility with what we bought here. So I say we haven't actually used that rail as yet, but we have actually got this. We'll do perhaps another video when we're using that sail that we have, especially in the summer and that. So it's got the, as I said, it's got, we bought the awning, and it's got the Fiamma F45 they fitted on here. So it's quite simple to use. You simply wind it out. I think you wind it about a couple of meters. We haven't used it that much, to be honest, because it's been over winter, so we're very eager to try this out in the summer. And then you've got 2 legs that you pull down. You sort of get it half out to start off with. Just give it a bit of support while I pull it out. It's easy when there's 2 of you. You can peg these down, there's holes in there to peg out, and then bring that right out. So it's, you know, I can imagine this being a great space. Put your chairs out, barbecue, etc. Okay, so this is really great space, sit out in the summer in your chairs, barbecue, etc. And this is where we decided to have the 2 doors. When we saw this, we thought this was something new, different to a lot of other vans out there. So what this gives you is the ability to actually cook outside using the cooker itself. There are some compromises with that. You don't get the flush cooker with that because obviously the lids don't come up because you need to get into there. This allows you to actually get and access the cooker. So it's got two burners. We'll go through that in more detail when I do the kitchen. It's also got an outside table, so you can actually cook and prepare. It could be out here. Obviously you could use your barbecue as well. So it all depends what you want to do. And obviously you've got access into the drawer itself. So I've really thought about that. You can get through to your cutlery. You haven't got to keep going around, etc. You can get to the sink if you need it. There's also another preparation area to use that space. And obviously you have access to the fridge. So if you see there's a fridge there at the side, it's got a freezer unit at the top. We haven't got the fitting on at the moment, but it allows you to get to all that and actually be outside. So we thought that was quite a unique thing. We didn't see a lot of that around on a lot of the fit outs. It just allowed us to have this indoor outdoor living space. So we do plan to go into Europe at some stage, so we think that's going to be really nice. Okay, so we'll just take you inside the van now. So this is in the driving mode. So as you can see, obviously the seats are forward facing. There's quite a bit of space here, quite a bit of space for passengers, quite a bit of a distance. I think there's a bit more space than probably the VW. That was the impression I got. And we always came back to the van to look at the inside space because we always wonder if we were deluding ourselves how much space there actually was. With respect to the cab area, it was really important for us to make it feel like as much as a car than anything else as we could. Obviously it is a van, but obviously we went for the higher spec, so we spec the car up in as much as we had the auto box. We went for the sat nav. You can have just obviously with your Google iPhone and connect it that way, but we decided to go with the sat nav. The sat nav's pretty good. Does take you at times some strange routes we found, but actually that's all more the excitement. The seating position's really good. We like that. I mean, for us, not having been in a van that much, being up high, seeing over hedgerows, you don't realise there's another world out there actually beyond the hedgerow. So that's again part of, I guess, van life, etc. Really comfortable to drive. The 170 PS power box really makes a difference, especially on the motorway. The auto box is really smooth. We wanted an auto box because Jane can only drive an auto box, but we find it a very smooth change. We've had quite a few auto boxes in the past in cars, and this is not a bad box, to be honest. And I've had a VW box as well, so I think it's on par with it personally. There's a lot on the steering wheel. You've got speed limiter, so I use the speed limiter quite a bit. It's also got cruise control, so speed limiter allows you to set an upper limit, so it won't go beyond it unless you blip the accelerator. So I could set it for 30 miles an hour and it'll drive up to 30 miles an hour, not beyond, so that's great for speed limits. It's got usual controls of phone, volume on the stereo, etc, etc. So quite a bit. This is quite neat, the way it looks, like this sort of, I guess, iPad type look feel to it that you're getting in quite a few cars these days. The display is nice. It's also got obviously the radio. It's also got mobile apps, so you can actually get it into iPhone apps and sync it to my phone, etc. I haven't got it synced at the moment, so I haven't really got into that at the moment. So I'm only using it for navigation, phone and audio. Yeah, and obviously the seats themselves quite very comfortable. Steering wheel obviously just right out. Got armrest, so it allows you to get through into the back. So it's good. Okay, so what I'll take you through now, so that's the driving position. We'll take you through to, if you like, day mode. So one of the things we found was when we made a decision to not go with the pop top. And one of the reasons was that there was a couple of reasons for that. First of all, when we saw the high top, it gave us a lot more storage space, and we'll go through that separately. But also the fact is that when you just quickly pull over into a lay-by, you can quickly just turn around. You can get through into the space immediately without having to do anything. We're immediately, you know, I'm sort of 5'10", so I'm standing up. I'm just about touching the top, but I'm not hunched, so it works for me. I say it's great when there's just two of you. So if you wanted to take this into day mode, effectively, one of the advantages of having this leisure van is because it's a shorter kitchen. Now obviously it depends what you want here. There's a lot of obviously the kitchens where they're a smooth flush, so the burners are proud, and the reason that is so you can get at the burners from outside. So that's the reason it's there. What you do compromise though is that if you want the seat coming round, you do compromise on the kitchen length. Now obviously you get different arrangements. You know, some you'll see they'll sweep around to that, but they are locked in position and that. So what I'm going to do now is just turn these seats around. You have to take the handbrake off on the driver's side, and then there's a little red lever that you pull, and that starts to swivel, and you just basically, it's as simple as that really in reality. So that comes round, the handbrake back on, and you know that driver is there. And similarly with the passenger seat, again, as you turn that round, you've got the two. And of course, what that now gives you now is there's quite a distance from the back seat to the front seat. You know, Jane, we both like our personal space. Jane doesn't like sitting next to me, so we can sit opposite each other, etc. So that was again a key feature for us. So the reason why we went for a high top was because we could turn around and get up into the space very quickly. It gave us more storage. Secondly, we went for this configuration because it just gives us more versatility. Quite often, you know, we'll sit here at night, we'll swap round, you can put your feet up, etc. There's all sorts of different modes of how you operate with that. Okay, so I mentioned storage before. Is if you imagine a pop top, it really only comes up to this height. So anything above that height you're seeing at the moment is because we've gone for the fixed high top. So all of this storage, so we've got, you know, we tend to put all our food up in these two. They've all got these tambour doors, which are really good. So these two we tend to use for food, and it's got small slots in here. And then above the cab itself, it's actually deceptively goes a long way down. Obviously it narrows down, but there's quite. We often put the duvet in there, and obviously the front thermal screens that we've got, and that goes all the way around as well. So there's quite a bit of space in that one. And then on these side we tend to use the for clothes and that. We tend to use for our clothes on here. So we've got a his and her wardrobe, if you like. So that's that. And similarly here. So all of this you wouldn't have if we had a pop top. And on this side, I haven't quite got this cupboard right, so I'm all up for ideas on how to store Crocs and that. Our Crocs go in this one. We think that's where we want our Crocs, but it's all a bit higgledy-piggledy at the moment. So any advice on storing Crocs, we've still got to get our head around that. And this one, quite a big cupboard, and it's quite useful. If we look in here, we've got a hanging rail. And the reason we got a hanging rail is because if you wanted to, you could actually, these all fold up. They actually can take these down, or fold down rather, and you could have, and you think, oh, I wouldn't use that as a hanging rail. Believe it or not, we went to a wedding in Scotland, and we had obviously our suits for the day, and actually we're hanging off that. So we have used it. We tend to use it mainly as in a cupboard mode. But again, really useful space, quite a bit of space. And then finally under the sink, there is an area for odds and sods in there, and we tend to put our pots and pans down in this big sliding one down here. And then obviously we've got the cutlery drawer, which, as I said, you can access from the outside, which is really useful. And then under the seat itself, so if we now go under the seat here, we've got just tap. We've got here. We tend to put our vegetables in here at the moment, so that's a nice, useful space there. And under here, we've actually got our porta potty. So we went for that optional extra. Saw many videos online. Shall we, shan't we? What do we do with the toilet situation? and we thought, oh, we better have it. Not thinking they would ever use it. To be perfectly honest, we both converted to porta potty, especially when we were wild camping and that. But yeah, we do use it, and it's nice to have that comfort that you've got a toilet. Lighting. So electrics and lighting. So what we have here, as I said, it's got the hookup point outside. We've got solar panels on top, so that keeps the leisure battery topped up. So there's 2 batteries, usual configuration. You've got a leisure battery for this side that protects all of the electrics this side of effectively the cab, and then you've got the car battery, the usual car battery. So it's 12 volts. We've got adapters here. We've also got one under, which I'll show you later. We've got one under the seat down there. This is the panel for the electrics itself. Obviously you've got the on off, and then you've got the leisure battery indicator and the vehicle battery indicator. They just tell you how they're charged. So you can see we've got a couple of amber lights on here, because we've been using it as we've been here. So the other thing we've got is lights. So we've got 2 lights under here. That's for the sink lights. We've got lights up in the top here. You've got a blue LED. We've got a clear white one, and the same at the back here. So lots of lighting for a small space, I'll be honest with you. We've also got a small strip light that they've put in down this side that you can twist. So it's a little LED strip light that's there, and also we've got a nice little reading light at the back here, that again with the 2 that's there. I think the only thing I probably would have liked to have is another, but this is nitpicking a bit, is probably having a 12 volt over this side if I could, especially when you're at night and I don't know, you run out of charge. It's nice when you lay in bed possibly to have a charge. And then there's also cab lights up here they've installed, LED lights above on both sides. So from a lighting perspective, it's really nice at night. Okay, with respect to the kitchen area, obviously it's got the lights as I showed you before. It's got 2 proud burners rather than the flush burners. The classic, I think, has got the flush burners because it's got the longer kitchen. The reason for that is, as I said, it's because you've got this door opens up so you can get to the burners from the outside, otherwise you wouldn't be able to if there was a lid there. So it's just standard 2 gas burners. The gas bottle's in the back. With respect to the sink has got a pump on. It's got 2 40 litre tanks underneath. There's a 40 litre cold water tank and a 40 litre waste tank, grey tank, and that. It's a cold tap only, so it's not hot. There's a pump underneath there that you sort of can power on, power off, and obviously when you switch the pump on from up here, normal water comes out, etc. So that's sort of the kitchen area. Obviously I mentioned before it's got the extension, which helps with just extending the kitchen for preparation area, and obviously the fridge is below, as we mentioned before, with a cutlery drawer, etc. So it's good. It's more than doable for cooking meals on and that. So it's quite adequate in that. Okay, so the other thing that they've installed is obviously, which is again just get some natural light in, is the roof light. So this roof light is just, you know, especially if you're cooking, to give you a bit of a through draft, but obviously in hot weather, nice to have that air circulation. And obviously at night time, there is a fly screen. So yeah, midges in Scotland, I'm not going to get hold of you, and that just catches there. So I'm sure that's going to be really useful. And then at night time, you can actually, from a blackout screen perspective, you can. It's quite good there. And I say, with respect to blackouts, they've installed all these blackout curtains, so they just simply pull across, and again it's pretty good with blackout, I have to say. So all the curtains will pop and gradually close down. Okay, so with respect to cooking and eating, there's a table they've put into the side of the door. So you just simply remove that. They've got this, again, this is really flexible. So again, one of the things we found on vans when we were looking around is there's all sorts of different configurations. Some, I think, of the VWs, they have a fixed rail. so it's obviously attached and fixed to this, which makes it a bit more difficult actually to get to the cooker at times. But with this one, what they've got is they've got this bar that's really gives you the ability, and this is not centre, it's obviously sort of 60% over, and that allows you, you'll see my little party trick is basically you screw that onto there like that, and then it allows you really to, you know, have it wherever you want. So you could have it up there for prep work, you might be playing cards, you might be eating, you might be doing some work on your laptop over here, you might be doing some laptop on your work over on this side. You know, it's sort of all sorts of configurations that you've got. We find this really useful, and that's just because they've got this ability here with a bar that you can lock in and you can swing it round. As I say, you just about locking it into place, but it gives you this, it sort of covers this whole area really, if you wanted to. As I say, we obviously use it quite a lot, you know, with the prep work for the kitchen and then eating and that. So yeah, so that's the table. So when it comes to night mode, the bed just basically folds down forward. So first of all, you have to take the headrests off. So just remove those, and then effectively what happens is there's a bar under here, and that slides down, and basically it slides all the way down to the bottom, and that's nighttime mode. We've got bad backs, so one thing we decided to do, and I'll put the link below, is we bought a mattress topper from Duvalay that they custom make, because obviously there's a bit of a cutaway here, so you give them the measurements, etc. It's worth the money, to be perfectly honest. That's what we did, so I'd sort of recommend that. We find, you know, again, it's a double sort of bed size really, we find, not an issue at all, two of us. The thing that you can have on the bed here is obviously you can actually have, which is quite nice, you can, this back actually comes up, so it's actually tilting, so you know, a cup of tea in the morning, you know, if you want to get up, there's a bit more height to it, etc. So, you know, sit, look at the world, cup of tea, glass of wine, whatever you do, etc. So really quite a nice mode. And obviously the reverse of that, to take the seat down, is that there's a connection at the back here that actually, you just pull the bed up, you pull the lever from underneath, so it's just the reverse of what you do to put it back. Obviously the back seat, by the way, doesn't have to be an upright, it can be in this recline position, you know, so if you want to be a bit more relaxed during the day, or it can be in the upright position. So there's about 3 positions there you can have it, and again, it depends on how much room you want to get. So again, really it's nice and simple. So getting from all the various modes, it's seconds. As I said, 2 of us, it works. If you wanted 4, you got two young kids, you're going to need the pop top, as simple as that. But for 2 of us, I say the high top works for us. It gives us the extra storage, the extra space. That means we're not moving stuff around in bags and all that. They can be permanently up high, so it's perfect for us. Okay, with respect to heating, there's a Webasto diesel heater. So the controls are here. So what that is, it's and again, something we really like, it's actually fed off the diesel from the van itself. So it takes small droplets of diesel, and the fan's actually under the passenger seat, which I'll show you in a minute, and effectively the way I understand it works is drops, you know, diesels onto the heat and it blows the heating out. So a couple of things that's really useful there is that it's not draining the gas, it's draining off it's using obviously the diesel out of the main fuel tanks. That's nice and easy, so if you've got fuel in the fuel tank, it's going to work. The controller here, you know, that's how you set the temperature. Basically, it takes time just to cut in with the fan, but once it gets going, it's really warm. And I say the first night we actually had the van, it was -2. We were really toasty, to the point we often turn the heater down. It's just too hot, so you can't say any more than that. So the heat is actually under, as I said, it's under the passenger well, and it's just the vent here. So basically blower, and there you can angle it so it blows a bit of an angle vent, so you can decide if you're having it up or if you're blowing it down into the base and that. So that allows you to swivel it round, but the heat's sort of under the seat here, and it blows up. So been too hot most of the time, so it's more than an efficient heater for as far as we're concerned. So in summary, you know, we went, I think there's a couple of big decision makers for us. We wanted a short wheelbase. That was number one decision. We wanted to be able to get in and out of car parks. The other thing, so the other thing with the high top for us, you can stand up and it's easy. I know you can do that with a pop top, but sometimes if the wind's howling out there, you know, you might not want to use the pop top. No. But what we wanted to do was make sure we use it all year round. Again, the insulation of the high top gave us that. And yes, okay, you might not get under some car parking barriers. It really hasn't stopped us. You just find somewhere else. I think it's only occurred once anyway. You just find a way around that. So that's not a biggie for us. Also, it was important to us that it was an automatic, because Jane can only drive an automatic. So that was key. So we needed to find an auto box, and obviously the VW has an auto box as well. So you know, you could go either way that way. What we found with this fit out with Autocampers, it gave us the flexibility of having on the leisure van the 2 sliding doors, and that allows us to have that outside space. It just feels a bit bigger. We also found the Ford Transit actually bigger inside than a VW. I think it's got more of a squarer sides to it, and I think it's slightly wider. And I think the other thing was obviously there was the cost. You know, the Ford itself was probably 6 to 8 grand cheaper depending on which options you went for. So we went for the sat nav, etc., as well as the auto box. We had a few extras on there, so it's probably around about £8,000 cheaper than the equivalent VW. And from a drive perspective, I'm really impressed with the drive of the Ford Transit itself. I think the auto box, the 170 PS, I think that helps, you know, be able to pull you along. So for the two of us, it's nice. I'd certainly check out the Ford. I'd personally go and check out Autocampers. We're not affiliated to them by any means. It's not an advert for them, but it's just an option more than anything else. I'd go and have a look at them.
Shining for the wind is calling. You must return to the wild. Shining for the wind is calling. You must return to